Good day, everyone. This is Dr. Sinclair Gray with the Great Entrepreneur Success Group. I am here talking with the insurance lady, Stevie, about something that's really important to all entrepreneurs, and that is health insurance. So, Stevie, thank you so much for joining on this particular day. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you so much for having me, Sinclair. Yes, my name is Stevie. A lot of people know me as Insurance Lady Stevie, and primarily I help answer people's questions. I show them a different side of a health insurance advisor because I actually care about what's best for them. So I'm the health insurance lady, Mr. Sinclair.
Excellent, excellent. So real quick, what insurance company do you work for? And tell us a little bit about the importance of health insurance for entrepreneurs during this time.
Well, that's a great question. I'm actually a health advisor. So I have access to every network in every state. And for self-employed individuals, I'm able to help them save on costly premiums that they may be paying in the marketplace. So a lot of people are self-employed. I can help you get a really, really good rate on your health insurance.
Excellent, because I think one of the things that we've talked about before is that entrepreneurs, they have a hard time, when it comes to insurance, because they left the 9 to 5, they've left their employer, so now they've taken a leap of faith, and now they're their own boss, and now they have to worry about insurance. Life insurance is something totally different,
Yeah.
but health insurance is something that's needed in this time. Just for those who may not be sure, what are the different types of health insurance options that people can take advantage of?
Well, that's a great question. There's like about 6 actually major types of health insurance. A lot of people are familiar with the public market, which is also known as Obamacare or now Biden Care, which utilizes HMO networks, typically limiting you to doctors within your zip code. Deductibles can range from $5,000 to $16,000 on that public market area. You're paying high max out-of-pocket premiums, but for someone that may have a pre-existing condition or receiving a tax subsidy from the government, this may be a good option for you. There's also the employer coverage, where the employee typically pays 50% of the employer's plan, but usually does not contribute to the family's portion. So it can get pretty expensive for a family on the employer's plan. And like you mentioned, Sinclair, when the employer tries to go on their own and become self-employed, then what you have is the COBRA. The COBRA is actually an ex-employee coverage plan, and it's offered to the employee when they're leaving the company. It's typically very expensive. If anyone knows about COBRA.
Exactly. It can break one's pockets.
Yes, it can, and it lasts for up to 18 months. So you're paying high prices, usually double what you were paying when you were on your employer coverage, and it's not going to last. So that's the COBRA plan. They have short-term plans where are a good quick fix. You have high deductibles ranging anywhere from $1,000 to $25,000 or plus. Every 3 to 6 months, those short-term plans do reset. That's your short-term plan in a nutshell. You have limited benefits, fixed indemnity plans, where if something major were to happen, the individual now has a limited benefit. So what that means is the insurance company gets to pick what they choose to pay if something major happens.
That sounds kind of, I don't want to call it, sounds kind of sneaky. It's kind of sneaky.
Yeah, it's not nice, but they're out there. And at one point in time, they were actually banned, but now they are out there and they're providing health coverage to anyone who's willing to pay for it. And then you have other small subsidiaries like MediShare and Christian Health Sharing and Health Sharing. And if you know anything about sharing, the cost sharing plans, the client is the cash payer. So it can be pretty expensive if the other individual sharing the cost with you doesn't know how to share. So I would just leave you with that mindset as far as the meta share and the Christian health sharing plan.
Wow. So let me ask you a question, because I know we've talked about, you're identifying yourself as the insurance lady, covering all 50 states. What separates you, what you're offering compared to other healthcare insurance agents in this particular case? Because, you hear so many people say, I can do this, but what separates Stevie, the insurance lady?
Thank you, Sinclair. Well, of course, I take a personal touch to all the people that I'm able to speak with and that take time out of their day to see how I can help them with something that's very important to them, their health coverage. And being that that's the case, I like to send people to the best network that is better for families to be able to get the best coverage for if something major were to happen. There are 4 networks, and the one that I choose to send people to is the PPO network, where they're able to get nationwide coverage. So you're not limited to doctors within your state. You don't need a referral from your primary to go to a specialist. Very, very important nowadays. People have major health concerns, and they just want to make sure that if something major were to happen, like God forbid, cancer, they're not receiving $400,000 bills to their home on a weekly basis. PPO networks that take majority, if not all of the costs with very little deductibles, ensure that the client doesn't have to worry about those major out-of-pocket costs.
Wow. So, from what it sounds like, you're really taking care of, your client, because, no one wants to talk about health insurance, because, no one really wants to go to a doctor. We all need to go to the doctor. We need to be proactive in our health, but no one really wants to go to the doctor. But one of the things I think, I want to kind of delve into is the cost, because, when people are self-employed, they're spending money on fixed costs. They're trying to save every dime, every dollar, in the process of trying to make money. So what do you say to someone who says, you know what, Stevie, I'm in business for myself. I know I need health insurance, but to be frank, it's too expensive. What are you saying to that individual who comes with that type of objection?
Well, that, believe it or not, Sinclair, that is the case for a lot of people that don't put in the legwork to do the best research on making sure that they have the best coverage for them and their family. A lot of times when people need to get health insurance, they don't want to listen on this and that. They just want to get it most likely based on the cost and based on some certain things that they know that they need, which is most likely the preventative care. That leads people to the marketplace. A lot of times they're paying high premiums because self-employed individuals that are getting their coverage on the marketplace typically make too much to where they don't qualify for a reduced premium. So if you've fallen into that category where you were just needing to get the health coverage you knew you needed, and now you're paying way too much. You're paying $1,600 for a family of 4 in the marketplace. That is the ideal client that I can help, Sinclair. I can help reduce that premium significantly and get you most likely a different, better network.
Okay, now I've dealt with different clients, different clients in different industries. And I'm gonna ask you something. Is there a difference for someone contacting you directly rather than going through a 1-800 number? And we know people, it's easy to go through a 1-800 number. It's easy to do fly-by-night insurance. I hate to call it that. But what is the difference or the advantage of having someone calling you directly rather than just calling a 1-800 number or 1-888 number?
The difference is, the first major difference, you don't have to wait on hold for an hour. So I typically pick up my phone, and if I'm unavailable, I return your phone call. So there says so much with a personal touch. If you have an individual who may be local, and I am in all 50 states, and you can reach out to them personally, not only to help you complete the application and have it start when you would like for it to start, to explain the coverage to you in layman's terms so that you're able to understand it without all the big insurance words. And then, 3 months, 6 months down the road, when you've forgotten Stevie, because it happens, even when you have a personal person like myself, I advise you to save my number on your phone as Insurance Lady Stevie. I'm only a text, a phone call away. I can be called at any time. I get a lot of clients that call me directly from the doctor's office just to make sure that everything is okay with the billing and everything is okay after I'm able to help them on the phone.
And I think, like you said, they're able to call you direct, from the doctor's office. So if they go see a doctor, they're unsure how much they have to pay. They're unsure what's covered or what's not covered. Instead of calling the 1-800 number, wait an hour, transfer to who knows how many people, they pick up the phone and call Stevie. So real quick, Stevie, let's talk about some of your success stories. What are some of the success stories that you have personally experienced in this industry and what you have provided?
Wow. I'll share one with you, Sinclair. I was able to help a family that had, little did I know, they had been trying to get some rural insurance for quite some time. It was a mother and her two sons. Two sons were very, very large boys, and they actually play, one of them plays collegiate sports at a university. So he needed some real good health insurance so that he could be able to fill out the requirements for his school and be able to have the health insurance to play in case he got hurt and not pay the $5,000 only other option that they had at the school. So his mother was so happy. She shared the information with the school. The school reached out to me, and I was able to help over 6 of, if not more, of the students be able to acquire health coverage that was so much. I mean, $5,000 was the only other option. These are 20-year-old students, so we were able to reduce that by 0.25%.
Wow, that's a good savings. So I know you hear so many stories. Let me ask you a couple more questions, I know, and then we're going to kind of wrap up. I know you're busy today. Let me ask you a question. What do you tell a family, or what do you say to a family that talks to you and tells you, I can't afford it? Health insurance is too expensive. It's not in my budget. Because I know you do business as well as individual. What do you tell a family that says, you know what, this is too expensive for me at this time?
Well, I make sure, because I know health insurance is so important, that I look at all of the options with the clients. And when they're able to see the cost of the options out there and what services those options provide, they're able to see what makes more sense for them. And even though it may be a little out of their budget compared to the other options, when we're talking about rural health insurance and what's best for you and your family, they're able to see how it may cost a little bit more than what you were intending, but you're still getting better coverage at a better price. So I encourage them for us to get the cheaper coverage right now. And then 6 months down the road, if your budget allows you to make changes or adjustments, by all means, I'll push you to go get the more expensive coverage.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I like we say you can work with just about anybody. I hate to say, in the business term, I hate to say everybody, because everybody can't always qualify, but it sounds like you can just pretty much work with just about as many people as possible. So a couple of things. How can someone get in contact with you if they want to reach out? I know we have you on the Zoom, we have your phone number, but let's just tell people in case they don't want to read it.
Yes. Well, Stevie Gunyon, my direct contact is 678-768-5529. I can also be reached on all social media aspects. That's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can text me, DM, or you can give me a call.
Wow, so you got it covered.
Fine.
you got it covered. So what's the last piece of advice you would want to give to any type of business? Well, I'm gonna get let's do two things. What advice would you give to businesses seeking health insurance, and what advice would you give to individuals, families seeking health insurance?
Well, what I would say is remember to make the best of your health care. You'll want to investigate what kind of benefits that it has, not only for when you're sick, but also for when you're well. With a better sense of your health insurance plan, it will help you if something major were to happen to make sure that you have the best coverage. Let me, Insurance Lady Stevie, answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. Also, Sinclair, my ideal client is anyone that has questions about health coverage. Maybe you lost your job due to COVID, or you're switching jobs or paying too much on the marketplace.
Excellent. And for those who have health insurance right now, through different providers, can they call you up to do a free cost analysis or
Yes,
complimentary cost analysis?
it would be my pleasure. Call me with any questions. You can have insurance. You don't have to have insurance. You may be calling for someone else. I'm here, Insurance Lady Stevie, for all of your insurance needs.
Cool. Thank you so much, Stevie. I want to thank everybody for this time with the Great Entrepreneur Success Group. Thank you, Insurance Lady Stevie, for dropping that 411. So make sure you reach out to us, 678-768-5529 for all of your insurance questions and needs. Everybody have a great day.